Shit, she's strong. Looks like we're gonna have to work to get that sweet pussy. But you know what they say, hard work yields the best result. Don't worry, girlie. Those two were just chinin' when they defected. And I don't think that has changed even today.
The lackeys of the Anbu-level missing ninja roared in laughter, displaying their agreement with their leader. It was also their way of boosting the confidence that had fallen slightly after witnessing the girl effortlessly take down two of their own.
Unfortunately for her, the other missing ninja were now on guard, and attacked her as a team.
Her body slid gracefully to avoid their attacks, letting their swords, kunai and various other weapons dance around her body, sometimes almost grazing her delicate skin, but not quite. Naruto and his group watched the show silently, impressed by how flexible and graceful the Uzumaki kunoichi seemed.
Though, while the teamwork of the missing ninjas had flaws, all 10 of them seemed quite competent fighting together, and were slowly but surely gaining the upper edge.
The red-haired girl mentally cursed. In her rage over the act of rape, she had completely ignored strategy and logical thinking. Oh well, it wasn't like she had anyone to live for, but she wasn't going to let these bastards get her alive. And she was definitely going to kill many of them, hopefully winning.
Naruto clicked his tongue as he saw the girl couldn't probably win unless she had something up her sleeve. Help me out here, I want to talk to that woman about her headband. Nagato could only smirk at his cousin. Same here, let's get rid of the eyesores first. Just as Nina was about to use one of her trump cards, the 4 people that she had spotted before jumped into the fray. Origami Shuriken.
Goo. 2 more Chunin-level ninja who were closest to the blue-haired girl collapsed as they choked on their own blood after their throats were impaled by the paper shurikens.
The missing ninja who had been busy with fighting Nina didn't notice the arrival of the new group until it was a little too late for the 2 who had died. When the opponents finally noticed them, the leader roared with anger, and annoyance dripping from his voice, along with a slightly worried look on his face. Stay out of this, you imbeciles. This is none of your business. We found them before you, and we're going to be the ones who get to rape them first. If you want, you can have a go at them after we're done. That was when Nina noticed that the new arrivals were missing ninja as well, attested by the fact that 3 of them were wearing slashed Omegacore Hitaiates. She cursed herself for not considering that possibility and her fucked up luck for landing her in this situation. The 3 older ones looked very strong, and the young one seemed ninja trained as well. The red-haired male and the little blonde probably had a Dojutsu, as they both had their eyes covered.
Though they obviously didn't have any of the great Dojutsu, or so Nina thought. They obviously weren't Uchiha or Hyuga, as they neither of them had dark hair or the general attributes that the Uchiha or Hyuga clansmen display. Not to mention the fact that those clans were based off Konoha, so obviously no one from Rain Country could have those Dojutsu unless their situations were similar to hers. That left the Rinnegan, the legendary Eye of Samsara. But she was sure they didn't have it. No one after the sage had obtained it as far as she knew. So that meant they had some of lesser known but nonetheless dangerous Dojutsu if the opponent was skilled with it.
She got into a wider stance. It seemed she was not getting out of this alive. She silently apologized to the little girl that was going to be turned slave now, and with her who knows what Orochimaru will do. She was not as imaginative as that sick bastard, so she had no fucking idea. What are you talking about? Naruto asked, somewhat confused. Others in his group perfectly understood what he was talking about, though. They think we are here to get the girl for ourselves, those bastards.
You idiots really think we are like you? We are the Akatsuki, Red Dawn, we fight for peace. We are missing Nin because the leader of AIM is a tyrant that we oppose. Yahiko was interrupted as Nagato placed a hand on his shoulder. No need to explain, Yahiko, they will be dead soon, so it's just a waste of time.
Hearing that filled Nina with a flicker of hope, but she couldn't be sure they were with her yet. So she asked, whose side are you on? Whose do you think? Kanan deadpanned, pointing at the 2 dead missing Nin. Nina had the decency to look somewhat sheepish, but she was just making sure. All right, I'll let you help since I am outnumbered here. Before they could continue discussing, though, the missing nin decided that while both the groups were enemy, and they still had the numerical advantage, hence the leader shouted, "Kill them all, but let the girls live for now. We will give them better deaths later."
Apparently Conan didn't like that guy. Shikigami no Mai. Dance of the Shikigami, B rank. Turning into paper, she wrapped around the leader of the missing nin, slowly suffocating him. Unfortunately, it wasn't going to be that easy against an Anbu-level opponent, as he tore through the paper and forced Conan to reintegrate.
While this was going on, Nina had immobilized one of the Jonin, and was fighting another Jonin and 2 Chenin. The remaining 5, 2 Jonin and 3 Chenin, ran towards Nagato, Naruto, and Yahiko. Nagato and Yahiko fought 1 Jonin and 1 Chunin each, while the remaining Chunin fought Naruto. Well, that was if you could call Nagato was fighting. Basically, he was tossing the 2 ninja all over the place with his gravity manipulation. Yahiko had already immobilized the Chunin with his water prison, and was attacking the Jonin with a water whip.
Naruto meanwhile thought this would be a good way to test his skills without the Rinnegan. So, instead of using one of his surprise attacks, he let the Chunin get close, and then started attacking him with one of the techniques his mother had taught him during the 1-year survival training.
Katan. Hozenka no Jutsu. Fire Release. Phoenix Flower Technique, C rank.
The technique was meant to be a distraction, but one of the fireballs caught the surprised Chunin on the shoulder. He didn't expect such a small kid to know any ninjutsu, let alone C-ranked and above.
While Naruto was a tad disappointed at how easily his opponent got wounded, he wasn't an idiot, so he pressed his advantage. Throwing several shuriken towards the enemy, Naruto performed another technique. This time, though, the Chunin was prepared. Reiko Onami. Lightning Release. Lightning Surge, C rank. Naruto, sensing lightning chakra heading towards him via ground, jumped in the air and finished his own technique. Suiten. Mizu Kamikiri. Rising Water Slicer, B rank. The concentrated beam of water cut through the ground, and through the Chunin, bisecting him in half. Naruto stared at the dead body, or bodies. It was in 2 equal parts now, so he can't be sure. He was still dumbfounded at the sheer effectiveness of the technique. Though others had already finished their enemies, and were watching Naruto's battle, ready to intervene if needed. All of them were equally impressed by the effectiveness of the technique. It seems your Yogengan perfected the beam to a level where instead of throwing the ninja away with great force and causing internal injuries, the beam is sharp enough to slice through him. Very impressive, Kibai commented. Naruto, however, was feeling a bit sick. Almost all the internal organs of the Chan had fallen to the ground in plain view, and 2 separate half-Chanin were lying a few feet from each other. Finally, though, he was able to hold his lunch. Nina freed the captured girl, and then the 5 ninja stood in a circle. Naruto noticed that Conan had more than a few scratches on her, but no serious injuries. While the Anbu-level missing nin probably wasn't a piece of cake either, her excess training during the last year had made her even more capable of kunoichi than she was before. Nagato was the first one to speak. "What is your name, Kunoichi-san?" "It is only polite to give your name first," Nina answered carefully. She wore her headband with pride and never hid her name. Given how much her mother had given her, she could at least continue her legacy with the Uzumaki name. But she was by now very aware of how powerful each of them were. She could probably kill just 1 or 2 before being taken down, if all of them attacked at once. Fortunately, the 3 Akatsuki and Naruto decided that it was fine and introduced themselves. "I am Uzumaki Naruto." "Uzumaki Nagato." "Yahiko." "Conan." Nina was not sure how long she didn't move or breathe, but she was so shocked that her eyes resembled dinner plates. "Uzumaki, that's your birth name or you just took it?" she asked, still not sure. Naruto chuckled. "Yes? We felt safe to tell you based on your headband, which belongs to Whirlpool. Tell us, how did you get it, and who are you?" Nina sighed. This was too much for a day. But she had to get this over with quickly, or the little girl in Wave Country might fall into that snake pedophile's hands. So, getting over her shock, she sternly responded, "I am Uzumaki Nina, last survivor of the Whirlpool Country. At least I thought so until today. Now I know there are 4. But we have to hurry if we don't want to become 3. There is one person I heard about in Wave that might be another one of us." Naruto raised his eyebrows in surprise, finding 2 Uzumaki in a day. This day was lucky, which gave him hopes of finding the sword too. "Actually, I have a mother and a sister, Nina-san. Although if another Uzumaki needs help, then I would like to offer you mine, if you would accept." "Right. We will discuss everything in detail once we save the girl," Nina responded. "Oh well, we could tag along. After all, Wave Country is southeast, where we were originally heading," Nagato added, to which Yahiko and Konan nodded. The dragons had not set any time limit on finding the sword, although the sooner it is found, the better. "Good. Then we have to move quickly. We will need someone to inform the group," Yahiko added. He knew Nagato and Naruto were going to take this personally, since the girl was an Uzumaki. From what Nina knew, Konan was faster than him and could get them all out of there quickly if things get bad. So he made the logical choice. "I will go, Konan. Go ahead with Nagato. We will be on our way soon as well." Konan nodded, and then the group of 4 ninja took to the trees and headed to Wave Country. Yahiko turned around and noticed the previously captured girl looking at him with a hint of fear and hope in her eyes. "Fuck! This is going to take longer now. I totally forgot about her. Now I have to make sure she gets to some authorities first, and then I have to catch up with the Uzumakis and Konan. Or there is no point in doing so." He noticed that Naruto had stopped only for a moment to look, and then continued as Nagato told something to him. Yahiko sighed. "Nagato knows me too well. He knew I'd do this." But seems Nagato and Konan never really cared about the girl. They only interrupted because of Naruto. In fact, I think the only reason they work for our goal is because it is my dream.
Even with that troubling thought in mind, he took the terrified girl and headed to the nearby town, completely unaware of the snake Sanin heading towards Wave.
Chapter end. As for the character, age. If it's X year Y months, I'll write it as X and year old. Only Naruto and Kasumi Uzumaki, 8 Natsumi Uzumaki, 10 Nina Uzumaki, 19 ageless Kushina Uzumaki, 19 ageless Kona Uzumaki, 24 ageless Konan, Nagato, and Yahiko, 19 Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru. Talk. Think. Chapter 6. Eminence. Nami no Kuni. As the group of 4 finally arrived in the Land of Waves, Nagato, Konan, Nina, and Naruto looked around for any signs of slave sale, but unfortunately failed to find any. Deciding to explore and look for clues, Nina spoke up. "Maybe we should split up and meet here again in an hour with whatever we find out." Others nodded and went in separate directions. Nina activated her Byakugan, and Naruto made around 30 shadow clones to help with the search. 1 hour later, all 4 of them arrived back at the place they had left off. Nina, being the one to find the most probable location of the girl, decided to voice her opinion. "I think I found where she is, though we might need to get her out of there fast. The auctioning is supposed to begin soon." Since no one else had been able to find anything significant, they decided to follow their new companion. It wasn't too long before they arrived in front of a big building with the sign of Gatuing. The gate was guarded by 4 armed guards. None of them seemed to be shinobi. "What business do you have?" one of the guards demanded as he noticed the newcomers. It took him only a fraction of a second to decide whether or not to kill the guard. In the end, he decided to check the girl's condition first, as well as confirm her whereabouts before taking any action. "We heard your boss had a girl whose blood can heal, for sale." Nina seemed ready to bust through the building at any moment, while Naruto didn't look too fazed. He wasn't entirely certain if the girl they were rescuing was an Uzumaki, and even if she was, getting emotional won't help in her rescue. The guard seemed to realize what the red-haired man was referring to as he gave them a grin. Ah, her. Of course, sir, the sale was just about to begin in a few hours, but if you are willing to pay a good enough price, you can buy her beforehand. You will need to negotiate with boss, though. Of course, please lead the way, Nagato answered in his business voice. This was a calm, collected, and serious Nagato, much like himself when in public. Naruto was fairly impressed at how easily Nagato can adapt to situations. Still, there was a girl to be rescued. After a while of waiting, they found themselves in Gato's office, facing the tiny man with cane.
My guards informed me that you were interested in the new girl I have for sale. I will let you know that she is a rather fine piece, and her value is quite high. Of course, I will give you her detailed description.
First of all, she is untouched, or pure, whatever you want to call it. Flawless skin, angelic beauty, and her blood is pure enough to heal almost any wound. She is truly blessed, so if you are the religious type, then she is what you have always been looking for. If you want her for other purposes, well, we don't know if her blood will heal or not after you are done with her, so we take no guarantee there. I assure you, though, that the experience should be extremely pleasurable. The girl was trained in ninja arts a bit by a retired jonin from Kumo, so her body is lean and toned. All in all, you are in for a hell of a ride. The foolish little man was completely oblivious to the constant drop in the room temperature with every word he spoke. Nina was fuming. Konan was angry. Nagato, well, you couldn't tell what he was thinking, while Naruto still didn't seem fazed on the outside. On the inside, though, he wasn't pleased with the pudgy businessman, to say the least. Nagato seemed to think for a while before he gave Gato a nod. Can we see her first before we buy? I assure you we are more than capable of paying any price you've decided for her, provided that she's worth it. If they could get close to her, they could get her out of here then. There didn't seem to be any ninja security. The midget-like businessman gave him a grin full of expectation from the upcoming events. Ah, of course. Examining the merchandise beforehand, I see. He could just feel millions upon millions rolling into his pockets. Quite frankly, he didn't care if they raped her till her body gives up or worship her till she dies. She can go to hell for all he cares. The point was, he was going to get even richer than before. When they reached the merchandise's designated room, they found a rather pretty blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl crying on a bed while hugging her knees. After a few moments of thinking, Nagato politely turned to Gato. We would like a few minutes alone with the girl. We will pay your price when we're out. Fine. I will be back in 5 minutes, no more. Don't even think about breaking her before you pay up, though. I assure you, you'll regret it. Nagato just gave him a grin and a nod. After Gato was gone, Nina immediately ran up to the girl and hugged her tightly. Hey, it's okay, we'll get you out of here. What's your name? Natsumi. Uzumaki, or at least I think so. I am an orphan. My mother sold me to that man. She began sobbing again, while Nina tried to comfort her. Natsumi was feeling awful inside. What were these people here for? They don't look like bad guys. And there is something strange about the blonde. He almost seems very familiar. But then again, her adoptive mother didn't seem like a bad person either. And she had sold her to this businessman. And then there was this strange woman that was hugging her even though they'd never met before. Shh, it will all be okay, I promise. Nina tried to soothe her. Naruto felt something oddly familiar about the girl. He couldn't put his finger on it. It was like he knew, or should know her, like he had a connection to her of some kind. What happened? Can you tell us about how you came to be here? Naruto asked. It was all fine until my 10th birthday. Then, all of a sudden, my adoptive mother told me that the only reason she raised me was so that she can sell me later. For my ability. Natsumi answered between sobs. It was quite obvious that the girl wasn't in the best state of mind at the moment, as she had recently been abandoned. All her beliefs of what the world was completely turned upside down.
Would you like to come with us? We are technically your family. I am Uzumaki Nina, and these are Uzumaki Naruto, Conan, and Uzumaki Nagato. Family, really? Natsumi asked, with some hope in her eyes. Sobbing temporarily stopped.
She wasn't sure whether to trust them or not. After all, this could be a trick, right? But why would they do that when they can just pay for her and do whatever they want with her? She shivered unconsciously in fright. What would happen to her after she was sold? She shed a few tears, knowing she would be the property of whoever owned her then.
Since Nina-san seems to have taken quite a liking to you, and we're probably from the same clan, we'll get you out of here and treat you like a little sister until you decide what you want to do next. Well, everyone except me, as you seem to be a year or two older. Naruto answered with a small smile.
For some reason he felt compelled to help the girl. Not just like the normal help the poor girl that he would usually ignore, but a gut feeling that said, if you don't help her, you will regret forever.
Natsumi almost didn't believe what she heard. Why would he say that? Then she thought, maybe, just maybe she could give her complete trust to someone one more time. The woman with pearly eyes, and the boy with spiky blonde hair, she would trust them for now. They were giving her more kindness than most, and she had no reason not to believe them.
And there was something in her that was just screaming at her to trust the blonde. It was scary. This never happened before. Why now? Either way, it wasn't like she had much choice other than this. I will try my best to fit in with all of you, she answered, looking down a bit shyly. Nagato smiled at the fact that it had worked out pretty well. The information was accurate, and the girl was unharmed as well, except for the mental trauma she'd had to probably suffer. But that can easily be taken care of with proper treatment later. That's good. Now that we have reached an agreement, we should break her out of here. We can't really pay whatever excessive price Gato will ask for her, and that bastard doesn't deserve getting anything for her. He was satisfied when all of them seemed to agree with him. Byakugan. It was fairly easy to get out of Gato's building. After all, except for the children, they were all a class and higher ninja.
Once outside, they decided to head back from where they came, northwest, so that they can join up with Yahiko and others before once again looking for Naruto's sword. After that they would decide what steps must be taken regarding the two new additions to the group.
10 minutes later. Cuckoo, look what we have here, Kabuto. A voice hissed, making all 5 of them stop dead in their tracks and get into defensive positions. Natsumi in the center, Naruto at the back.
Show yourself, Conan commanded.
A very pale man with purple eyeliner, serpentine eyes and purplish-gray robe stepped into the clearing. Nina was already aware that the snake Sannin was coming for Natsumi, and had warned others about it. But this was something she had wanted to rather avoid. Orochimaru, Nina hissed. She knew she was a capable ninja, but she had never fought an S-class before, having always preferred to avoid such risks. It had worked out very well since it was extremely easy to notice overly large chakra signatures thanks to her Dojutsu. But this time, the S-class wasn't just passing by, he had been headed specifically for her group. There was no avoiding this time. So you know me. Well, I seem to be at a disadvantage here. Why don't you all introduce yourselves?
All the members of the group were visibly tense. Even though they were good, an S-class could never be taken lightly. Orochimaru was a cage-level ninja, and despite all his training, Naruto knew he would be killed easily if he were to face Orochimaru one-on-one. But fortunately he wasn't alone.
While none of them were confident of their victory against an S-class alone, together they were more than sure they could defeat one. Nina had experience of an 80-year-old, and body of a 19-year-old. She was around easily cage level, and her taijutsu was perhaps one of the best in all of the elemental countries. Nagato and Conan were no rookies either. They both could hold their own. However, that didn't make facing the snake Sannin easier. No matter how skilled you are, there could always be casualties, especially when you have to protect someone weaker. Just give me the girl, and I will let you all live, Orochimaru ordered, completely cool and collected, confident in his superiority.
He hadn't heard of any of them. There was a red-haired man, a blue-haired woman, a redhead woman and a little blonde boy with a mask. He had memorized all A-rank and S-rank shinobi and kunoichi in the bingo books, so he knew none of them belonged in that list.
Nope. Nothing worth noting. All were no-name ninja at best. Nina narrowed her eyes at the Sannin, clearly not believing he had thought they would just hand the girl over. You must be seriously retarded to think we will give a little girl to a emo pedophile scientist like you. Natsumi couldn't hold a snicker at the man's new nickname, though inwardly she felt a chill run up her spine. I hope she was just joking there.
Orochimaru hissed in anger. How dare she call him that? He was no ordinary emo pedophile. He was super emo bipedophile.
A cough from Kabuto broke him out of his trance. Orochimaru-sama, I think we should just get rid of the disturbances and just complete our objective. They don't seem too cooperative, so we're just wasting time.
Orochimaru chuckled but nodded with a smirk. The only ones who could stand against him right now were the Hokage, Raikage, Mizukage, Kazekage, Tsuchikage, Uzumaki Kushina, Killer Bee, Hoshigaki Kisame, Kakuzu and Sasori. A mere handful of people, and even from these he knew how to escape from each and every one. The only one he did not want to mess with under any condition was Hanzo. That one time he had barely survived even with his ex-teammates, and that was only because they were spared.
He had nothing to fear from the people in front of him. He charged at the group, intent on killing all but the girl that possessed the precious Uzumaki bloodline. Shinra Tensai. From Nagato stopped him mid-charge, painfully. Orochimaru was caught completely off guard when he was thrown away by an invisible force. What jutsu was that?
Now that he knew that the no-name ninja were prone to use strange and unconventional attacks, he decided to not try to block but simply dodge any attacks. Orochimaru nodded at Kabuto and they both charged at the group from two different sides. Briefly exchanging glances, the group made a decision among themselves. Naruto would protect Natsumi, Nagato and Nina handle the snake while Conan takes care of the sidekick. Orochimaru ran full speed towards the duo that had turned to face him. To most genin he just disappeared, to most jonin he was a blur. But to Nina's eyes, he was crawling, walking in slow motion. With complete determination in her eyes, she charged at the Sannin, while Nagato waited on the sidelines to jump in if the snake slips past her.
Blurring out of existence and reappearing in front of the snake, Nina quickly started striking his tenketsu. The Sannin seemed shocked at first, but finally noticed the activated Byakugan, and made a short retreat. It seems you are quite skilled with your taijutsu to make me retreat like that, Orochimaru commented. Nina sneered at the snake with hate in her eyes. Shut up, you pedophile. Face me if you dare.
Seeing no harm in doing so, Nagato decided to help Nina out a bit. Bansho Tenin.
The Sannin was shocked again. 1 second he was standing a safe distance away from the red-headed Haiga, and the next he was flying towards her. No, not her, that man. Pushing Chakra to his feet, he tried to stop the technique. Since Nagato hadn't put much power behind the move, the Sannin managed to stop. But he was close enough for Nina.
Hake Kusho, 8 trigrams air palm.
Hit with the technique in the gut, Orochimaru coughed up blood and glared at the offenders. Now that he was pissed, they were going to pay. Kusanagi no Tsurugi, Kachiya no Tachi. Sword of Kusanagi, long sword of sky. Taking out the sword from his mouth in a slimy display, he created a few mud clones without hand seals and charged again. This time he was prepared for anything. Charging at Nagata with the sword, he extended a hand towards Nina and muttered, "Sine Jashu," hidden shadow snake hands. Orochimaru gritted his teeth in annoyance as all his snakes were swatted away by her nimble hands, and killed in the process by precise chakra strikes. Throwing the sword at Nagato so that he couldn't interfere, the Sannin faced Nina again. Mandara no Jin, myriad snake net formation. Very large number of snakes erupted from the Sannin's mouth, all with kusanagi blades sticking from their mouths.
Nina seemed a bit surprised at this, but recovered quickly.
I can't dodge such a wide area attack. The swords are probably poisonous, so touching them won't be a good idea. Then, Hakusho Kaiten, 8 trigrams heavenly spin rotation. A perfect circle of spinning chakra protected Nina from the incoming attacks. When the snake stopped coming, she stopped her technique and stared at a fuming Orochimaru. Hairu Isai Soshi? Leech all creation. Orochimaru's body started sinking into the ground and then disappeared. Nina seemed confused at first, then her eyes widened. Oh crap!
Orochimaru emerged right behind Naruto, and was going to take Natsumi when Naruto's leg introduced itself to Orochimaru's head. Temporarily shocked at the power behind the blow, Orochimaru took a moment to recover. While he had considered the kids to be defenseless or at genin level at best, it seemed the boy at least was high chunin level. Still, he was outmatched and outclassed. Conan saw everything, but was busy dealing with the sidekick. He was much more skilled than she had anticipated. But if she could draw the battle out, she had no doubt she would win. It just won't be too easy, as she was hoping for.
It's a good thing I deactivated my gravity seals before the fight began, or I might not have been able to react in time. This snake sure must be slippery to get past Nina-san's Byakugan like that, thought Naruto. You are good for a boy your age. Perhaps I should take you too. You might just make a capable vessel or subordinate. Naruto glared from behind his mask. Hell no, you gay emo pedophile. Despite the situation, Natsumi completely failed at suppressing her giggle at the new addition to the nickname of the Sannin. I'll show you, Orochimaru fumed. Orochimaru charged with his sword Kusanagi towards Naruto, intent on finishing off the boy.
Naruto flashed through hand seals, but just before he could complete them, Orochimaru disappeared in a burst of speed, surprising the blonde. But still, he had been training hard, so he prepared himself to retaliate the sword strike.
Chakra? Rod, Naruto muttered, as a smooth black rod formed from his chakra, formed in his hand. But to his surprise, the snake Sannin deviated from his path. Then he realized just where he was heading. Natsumi.
Quickly speeding towards the girl, Naruto put himself between her and the Sannin. While she was ninja trained, it was just the very basics, no advanced training, so she had practically no chance against the Sannin as she was now.
The Kusanagi clashed with the chakra rod, but then the unexpected happened. At least for Naruto. Orochimaru took out another Kusanagi from his mouth and slashed it across his chest. Shinra! Tensei! Putting as much force as he could safely into the attack, he hoped for the best as he stumbled backwards. Fuck! This hurts like a bitch.
Having been caught off guard, and unprepared for that attack, the sword had cut half an inch deep wound diagonally across his chest. Even if he had been prepared, he wasn't sure he could have defended himself against an opponent of Orochimaru's level. The difference was too much.
Orochimaru gritted his teeth in pain as he was thrown backwards. I swear I fucking hate this technique. He cursed mentally as he went through a few trees, breaking them in the process. Any regular Chunin would have been dead by now, and most Jonin severely injured. But he was not a Sannin for nothing. Performing his personal kinjutsu, he vomited himself from his mouth. His new body was as good as new. devoid of any wounds that he should have sustained from the fight with the three Uzumaki.
Unfortunately, right after he had finished the kinjutsu, he was met by a very pissed-off Nina and an irritated Nagato. It was a fact only he knew that it took him half a second to recover his senses after finishing this kinjutsu. He hoped they couldn't finish him off in that small period of time.
While they didn't know about the time limit, they wasted no time in attacking the opponent. Zesho Hakamon Hugeki, 8 Gates Assault. Orochimaru closed his eyes as he was hit by an extremely high-powered chakra palm in 5 different places of his body. He knew the positions she was hitting. The 8 gates. I have to get out of here if I want to live. Almost there. Another strike. Shit, 6 of my inner gates are closed. If she gets another 2, I will be dead because of the chaotic overflow of chakra in my body. I will have to use that jutsu now. I almost have full control of the body. Another strike. Yes! Yamata no Jutsu, 8 branches technique. At the last moment he was able to transform into a giant 8-headed snake, albeit appearing very tired and beaten up. 7 of the inner gates being forcefully opened is never a good thing for one's body. Kabuto, we are leaving! Nina's taijutsu technique completed. The 8th strike had hit, but the snake's chakra system was different now, so it didn't have much effect. Hi, Orochimaru-sama. Make no mistake, I will be back, and I will take all that I desire. And with that, they both sank into the ground. Gone for good. Naruto, are you okay? A worried Natsumi asked. Yeah, I'm fine. Just a little scratch. He gasped out. Damn, I didn't know this would hurt this much. It feels like some kind of venom is spreading throughout my body. Fast, I take that back. I feel like I'm melting from the inside, actually. Hibi's voice confirmed his suspicions. It shouldn't for normal sword cuts, but that sword was poison. Don't worry though, I know of a way to get you out of this, but it will cost us both a lot. So let's see if any of your companions can do something first. His eyes widened. If they didn't get to somewhere with an antidote quickly. He knew Ki-chan never joked when it came to it will cost a lot. Naruto, just hold on for a minute. Here, bite me. Remembering her ability with the Uzumaki bloodline, Naruto nodded gratefully and bit into her neck. Low moan escaped her lips as he drank her blood and chakra. In front of their eyes, Naruto's bleeding stopped and his wound closed completely. No scar left. His skin unblemished. Realizing he was fully healed in a minute, he removed his mouth from her neck, giving a lick to clean any residual blood.
She shivered when he licked, then blushed and looked away. Thanks for saving me, Naruto-kun. You're welcome, Natsumi-chan. I did say I will be like your brother, and brothers protect their sisters. He smiled. And thank you too for healing me.
Just then Yahiko arrived with the rest of Akatsuki and whistled at the destruction. You guys just don't know what low profile means. Let's get out of here before Konoha or Kiri squads come to check what the fuck happened. Meanwhile, in Konoha, Kasumi sighed as she continued to walk towards the academy. Recently, a lot of good and bad stuff had happened in Konoha. In the list of good stuff, Uchiha Itachi massacred all of the Uchihas, thus decreasing the number of assholes drastically.
In the list of bad stuff, he spared Uchiha Sasuke and his mother, who was at the Uzumaki compound when the massacre took place. Sasuke is now more emo and egotistical than ever. And he was the emo king even before the massacre. Though she was happy Makoto lived, she wished Itachi had killed Sasuke. Makoto-san was not that bad though. She was a good friend of her mother, even though Kasumi didn't trust any outsider, including Makoto. She behaved politely around her because of Kushina's friendship. But ever since the massacre happened, Sasuke had turned cold and hateful even to his mother. Something about not being strong enough to beat Itachi and emo stuff.
Makoto had been worried about Sasuke, so much that last Friday, Flashback.
Kushina had just arrived back from yet another S-rank mission and Makoto was almost always at the Uzumaki compound since the massacre, except for when Sasuke is supposed to be at the Uchiha complex. Right now they were relaxing on the couch.
Kushina-chan, I am worried about my son. How do you manage when you can't understand what your kids are thinking? Oh well, it never happened to me before. If it does happen, I can always ask them what's up. They don't usually hide anything from me, Kushina responded, slightly confused. Oh, but what if they do?
Kushina just raised an eyebrow at the Uchiha. Fuck if I know. They won't ever do it, and if they do then they should probably have a good enough reason to do so. After all, it is I who has been bringing them up, so whatever they do is actually directly or indirectly because of me.
She never realized how much those words depressed Makoto even more. But she did see Makoto was depressed. Hey! Makoto-chan, don't go all emo on me. Well, how about I cheer you up? Let's see, Kasumi? Yes, Kaya-chan. Cheer her up. How am I supposed to do that? I don't know. It's your job. But, please, won't you do your Kaya-chan this little favor? Kasumi breathed out a sigh of defeat, thinking of a way to do it. Figures, her Onoi-chan and Kaya-chan both had absolutely no people skills. Makoto-san, what's got you so upset? I thought you would be happy to be with your long-term friend here. She pointed at her mother. Makoto looked at the little redhead. She never truly understood her. That girl was far more mature and skilled than any girl her age should ever be. Even two Itachis fused together wouldn't compete with her. Itachi was high genin level at her age, but still his mentality was that of a 7-8-year-old. But Kasumi, she thought like a teenager already, and her skills were bordering high genin level from what she had seen. She contemplated on her answer. Should she tell her the complete truth? How will she handle it? It's just that. First Itachi goes crazy and kills every last one of my family, and then the one that he did spare won't even talk to me. I don't know what to do with him. Kasumi and Kushina both frowned at this. Sasuke never did realize what he was losing with his arrogance and hatred.
Suddenly Makoto's eyes sparkled, and she turned to look at Kasumi. That girl was so mature, and yet so innocent. So beautiful and yet so deadly. So cheerful and yet so serious when needed. She was perfect for her son.
You! The girl shuffled nervously. Something wasn't right with how the raven-haired woman was looking at her. Me? Mikoto's grin widened. Yes, you! Kasumi-chan, you are the solution for this. Frown formed on her face as she turned her face completely blank. What are you talking about? Suddenly she realized where this might be going, and nearly panicked. She turned to her mother, hoping she would take her daughter's side. Or she was going to pay. Please be friends with Sasuke-kun. In fact, Kushina-chan, what do you think about an arranged marriage between the lasts of Uchiha and Uzumaki clans? It will be an extremely good union. And even though Kasumi will become an Uchiha, you will have Naruto to continue your clan.
Whoa, hold your horses, Makoto-chan. Just a few problems there with your solution. First of all, I won't force Kasumi-chan into marrying anyone. And secondly, I don't think gay emo brooder are her type. And let me make this very, very clear. We are friends, but if you want it to remain that way, don't mess with my children.
Yep, Kasumi thought dryly. This is definitely where Naruto got his people skills. Damn, even Naruto won't call Sasuke that in front of his mom. I hope.
Makoto was now on verge of tears. Kushina should know that her best friend wouldn't think of anything that would harm what is precious to both of them.
Finally, Kushina seemed to sigh. All right. Look, I will ask Kasumi if she wants to. Then I'm okay with it.
What? You are asking me to marry someone else? And Sasuke, are you serious? Kasumi's shocked and hurt voice was a stab to Kushina's heart.
Kasumi almost didn't believe it. How could her mother even consider that or even think about it? If Kushina wanted, Kasumi will get married to Sasuke. She was her legal guardian and clan head. Kasumi felt extremely uneasy. One thing she knew for sure, though, was that she would kill Sasuke if they proceeded with the plan. Her mother will be angry, and he was Makoto's son. But she knew she will kill him, and she knew she was capable of it too. No, Kasumi-chan. I would never do that. I was just telling you that the next time you see Sasuke, try cheering him up and becoming friends. Just one try. If it fails, I won't ask you again. Kushina had been hurt that her daughter thought she would do something like that, but perhaps she should have phrased her words a little better. The sigh of relief from Kasumi didn't go unnoticed by either Kushina or Makoto. Compared to what I thought you were asking me to do, this should be a piece of cake, Ka-chan. Fine, Ka-chan. She will try, she was confident. Sasuke won't take the chance she was going to give, so she had nothing to lose. Her mother smiled slyly then. By the way, Kasumi-chan, what did you mean by someone else? Already found someone, huh? Of course, Kushina knew who Kasumi was talking about. It was her setup after all. But that didn't mean she couldn't embarrass her poor little daughter. I never said that. With that, Kasumi ran for her life, away from the perverted teaser that she had as a mother. Thankfully, Kushina was a bit too tired from her mission, so she just pouted a bit and then sat back down. Meanwhile, neither noticed the sadness on Makoto's face and her obvious disappointment. Kasumi sighed again. This was a very bad idea. She just knew it. Sasuke hated her. Not that he liked anyone. He just hated her more than anyone else, except Itachi maybe. She was at the top of the class. As if that was not enough, her looks had gained her a lot of admirers. Despite the adult population trying to get their kids away from her, most boys and some girls don't think with their heads when it comes to someone attractive enough. She already knew all this, but to her there was only one person that could attract her in that way.
And he was away, training who knows where, and will come back who knows when. But he will come back, that's all that mattered. Even if later he only wanted her as a sister, as long as she was able to be with him, she didn't care.
That said, despite the teachers trying to sabotage her growth, she was always miles ahead of Sasuke and others, and he hated her for it. Not that she cared. She didn't try too hard to score, it was just too easy for her. But Sasuke won't even consider the fact that he could be outdone. By a girl no less. She had no doubts he had mixed feelings for her. On one hand, he wanted to outdo her, be the rookie of the year, and all. On the other hand, he saw her as a potential partner. It didn't matter to him that she would never willingly be his partner. To him, she was just a good breeding stock. Good clan, check. Good looks, check. Intelligence, check. Yep, good breeding stock. Asshole. Entering her class, she took a look around. There, Uchiha Sasuke sat, brooding as usual. Well, she had promised her mother she will give him one day full of chances to make friends with her, and that she will... Thank God there is no seat empty next to him. I can at least sit somewhere else. She started walking towards the empty seat at the back of the class, next to Hinata. She smirked, remembering how she and Hinata had first met. Flashback.
Kasumi was once again painfully aware of being stalked. Ever since Naruto was gone from Konoha, she has had this mysterious figure follow her around almost everywhere she went. She had found out soon enough who her stalker was, and she was quite shocked. None other than Hinata Hyuga. Feeling a bit self-conscious and peeved at the same time, she decided to approach Hinata to confront her as to what she really wanted to do with her.
I mean, come on. She knew Hinata had a crush on Naruto for some unknown reason, and that she stalked him all the time. But why follow her now? You can come out now. I know you are there. There was an eep sound, and then Hinata hesitantly stepped away from the tree she was hiding behind. "So, what are you doing here?" Kasumi asked, not quite sure how to approach the subject. Stuttering and blushing, all the while, Hinata finally managed to reply. "Well, you see, I was watching you." And Hinata's eyes were wide and breathing heavy. She didn't expect getting caught and didn't know what would happen now. A tomato-red Hinata rapidly began firing explanations in hope of getting away without too much trouble. Somehow,
I didn't mean it that way. I meant that whenever I saw you or your brother you were always being glared or whispered at, for I don't know why, but either of you never let it get to you. You just brush it off and keep going like it never happened. I really admire that. I wish I could do that. When people belittle me, I wish I could just ignore them and walk away, instead of standing there.
Kasumi only raised an eyebrow at the girl's explanation. Seriously, she never thought that Hinata had a reason to follow her or Naruto around like that. Still, everything has a reason behind it, so it wasn't too much of a surprise. Now that she thought about it, Hinata was perhaps the only person aside from Makoto to be able to accept Naruto or her, without seeing them with hatred, fear, or ignorance. Maybe she wasn't so bad to be around, in fact, since Naruto is not going to be here for a while, and her Ka-chan is regularly out on missions. Kasumi didn't mind some company. She will make sure not to get too attached, just in case this was all a trick. "Hinata-san, you know you don't have to hide from me like that. We can be friends." She smiled at the Hyuga girl.
Hinata had been expecting being ridiculed, or worse, being told to get lost and never follow her again. How could she live without staring at either Naruto or Kasumi's sexy little ass? Off topic. How could she maintain her sanity without her little ropes to hope like Naruto and Kasumi around to guide her? Yeah, that sounds better, less perverted. Kasumi watched Hinata's expressions change every 3-4 seconds. Was she just staring at me with a perverted look? Nah, can't be, Hinata is too innocent. But I'm keeping her away from Oni-chan when he comes back. I'm not sure if he will be safe around her.
A little voice in her head was telling Kasumi that it's always the quiet ones. But she ignored it. Given that Hinata had a crush on Naruto, Kasumi didn't assume her to be one of the girls after her too. She can't change teams so quickly, right? Or was she playing for both? "Hinata-san, what are you thinking about?" Hinata blushed bright red and looked away before sputtering an apology and saying she was planning for the future. And so began a very unconventional and one-sided friendship. Kasumi vaguely remembered seeking advice from Kushina on Hinata's behavior, and regretting it. The sometimes perverted woman had proceeded to tell her many things she did not need to know. From that point on, Kasumi made a mental note to never ask Kushina for advice with anything unless absolutely necessary.